third brace of the season for Raphinha as well. In terms of the Supercopa de España, to give it its Spanish name, Barcelona looking for their 16th this year. They are the most successful team in the competition's history, a couple more than Real Madrid. Athletic Club have won it 3 times before, as I said, but they will be heading home with absolutely nothing. And we'll start by talking about Athletic Club. We talked with Phil, didn't we, about the issues going on there. Should we be worried about this club? Because when you compare what they were doing last season and what they're doing this season, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, I dived into the stats just to try and figure out wwhat's going on here. Obviously, a ton of injuries that they've had to deal with. Obviously, Nico Williams, his brother Iñaki Williams, they've both faced injury issues. They've had problems with Sanare, Beñat, Rados, Unai's been out. Aymeric Laporte also spent a bit of time on the sideline, so injuries hasn't helped them. I think the big problem they've got is they can't replace those players because of their policy, their strict policy of only Basque-born or Basque-based players, which is quite ridiculous. For them, it's beautiful. For the rest of the world, it seems ridiculous. But I do think it's hurting them. They can't get players in on loan, and if they've got injury problems, it's a big impact for them. I dived into the stats a little bit more so as far as to like what's actually gone wrong with them. Like, why is it? And I dived into the stats away from home in particular. 2 wins from 9 away from home in La Liga alone, just facing a La Liga. 7 goals scored from those games. They're not scoring enough goals, clear as we just showed you right there. There's a big problem right now in front of goal. The creation sort of gone with the Williams brothers having their sideline issues, and actually the belief and confidence, I think, is also gone as well. And from the 17 goals that they scored in La Liga in general this season, only 9, it might be 10, I might be mistaken here, but from my account, it's been 9 goals they've scored from open play. So, big problem in creativity, big problem in confidence, big problem finishing off chances. But you could see the golfing class in this game. Barca were phenomenal in that first 45 minutes. Absolutely phenomenal to watch. And Athletic Club have got big problems. If they continue to play like this season, I wouldn't even say this season. I think at one point they'll be okay. But if you've gone down this route of only having Basque region players born, at some point it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona looked like they were just dominating this game from the first second of it. Look how much possession they had, 80%, largely through Raphinha. I mean, he played absolutely brilliantly. And often in football, you can use stats to make a point. We do that all the time. But there is a huge correlation, isn't there, between the upturn in form for Barcelona after that Chelsea game in the Champions League that they lost, and Raphinha coming back from injury. When he's playing well, Barcelona are pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, but he's also got that leadership quality, right? You remember early in December where you had Hansi Flick on the sidelines actually sitting on the bench being comforted by Raphinha and almost consoled to let him know everything's going to be okay. And probably saying to him, everything's going to be okay because I'm back now, and I'm back with a bang. I'm going to be able to help you as much as I possibly can. I already pointed out there how important it's been from him since he's returned. That's 6 goals now across all competitions since the beginning of December. Having him back is great, but he's got to be healthy, right? Raphinha's not the same player when he's not healthy. Sometimes he has a habit of disappearing out of games when you know he's not 100% fit. But when he's fit, he's one of the best players, most dynamic players in world football. He is a real danger. He's a problem. And of course, in the Super Cup, there's never normally been big performances, big results. But actually, Barcelona with that victory, 5-0 over, obviously, Athletic Club, is the biggest win by any team in the history of the Spanish Supercup. 5-0 victory. And they made it look easy. It could have been 8 this game. It could have been so much more.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Real Madrid fans all over your DMs after this. But our Barcelona, I mean, when you look at this, you have to say that they've got the best attack in world football, don't they?
I think it's questionable whether it's the best attack in world football.
Well, look who they're. Yamal was on the bench. Lewandowski didn't play. Rashford didn't play. I mean, they've got horses in the back as well. They are so good going forward.
But you can look at what they've got, obviously, in reserve, who can't even get into the squad at points, right? There's a lot of players who have come through La Masia who are trying to get in there. These are the players who obviously took part in the game today against Athletic Club. They were impactful. I love the partnership that we're seeing from Fermín López, who had 2 assists and 1 goal in the game, from Ferran Torres, who got his goal. That chemistry between those 2 players, in many ways, I feel like it's a little bit better than what we're seeing from Fermín López and Lewandowski. And obviously, you've seen Lewandowski be forced to take a place on the bench more often than not this season. Yamal obviously took his place on the bench, and I think you will see a lot of changes for the final of this competition and an opportunity for them to really have an impact. But yeah, listen, they're brilliant. Are they the best in European football? They very well could be. Listen, I don't want to debate you too much on other teams because I want to spend time talking about the quality what Hansi Flick has at his disposal. This is no joke, man. Bardghji is coming in from Copenhagen. He's been absolutely fabulous since he's arrived, but he can't even get into the team sometimes. I look at De Jong, Pedri, they're unbelievable, and no one really talks about them. Those two do their business better than, in my opinion, better than any midfield in European football. They are unbelievable. And Pedri's passing into the final third is just consistent game after game. No one talks about it because he's always the pass into the player who gets the assist, right? They're next level, but they can get better. So I do agree that they're up there with the best in European football. That's yet to be determined though, right? I think La Liga, they've got the battle on to try and win that La Liga title. They'd love to win the Super Cup. I think that's important for them, that next trophy up. Mentality is important. But I still strongly believe that Hansi Flick wants that Champions League trophy. He wants to create history at that football club. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if the word from the higher-ups was that they want that trophy more than any other this season. And if you are right, they are the best and most dangerous offensive pairings that we've seen in European football this season, and maybe even the names on the back of the jersey, then who's going to stop them?
Hansi Flick's big on opportunities for players. He gave Fermín López that opportunity today, and he rewarded him with all of the good attacking work. Was this an audition for him to maybe play more of a starring role in the starting lineup? Well,
he's been impactful, right, when he's had his opportunity. I love the partnership that we're seeing from him and Ferran Torres, obviously getting a goal today again. Ferran Torres early on to open the scoring was massively important, but Fermín López to get himself a couple of assists is brilliant. And that's what I want to see from him. Anytime you get your opportunity to play for Barcelona in number 10 position, it's always somewhat of a privilege. But this season, this guy's been outstanding. And it's not necessarily just by the assist, right? He obviously did very well at the weekend. They had a very difficult game against Espanyol. He had 2 assists in that game, right? Let's not forget about that. This guy's stepping up when the team needs him most. Scoring goals hasn't necessarily been a problem for him. He's done so against Olympiacos, most recently where he got himself a hat-trick in that game. He's a dangerous player. And I think just maybe sometimes you lean heavily on people like Hansi Flick because he loves young, talented players, giving them an opportunity. If you reward him, he'll give you the answer. He'll give you the stats. And he's proven that he wants to fight for this place in the starting 11. And obviously the assists are one thing. Scoring goals is something completely different for Barcelona. But you've got to share the goals with this group. They're so good.
Talking of auditions, we're of course in a World Cup year. Speaking of Ferran Torres, is he the best Spanish striker in world football right now? Should he be starting for Spain come the World Cup?
I think there's every opportunity that he has that chance to start for Spain in the World Cup. There's no doubt in my mind that he's someone who has put himself to the forefront because of his performances in a Barcelona jersey. I think he's been absolutely brilliant to watch, which I think is so important. But I do believe that he will have a bit of competition. Mikel Merino has been obviously given that opportunity most recently, and he's actually rewarded Spain with scoring goals for them. But I do think that this guy, he continues to get better. You know, and he's got a history obviously at City, and he's got obviously a type of player who can be the main man at Barcelona. I think he's a bit pissed off that he's not actually thought of being the main man more so. Lewandowski's grabbed that throne most recently. But I think that the goals that he's scored in this season, I pointed out already, I think it's 14 goals now across all competitions. Phenomenal, right? It's absolutely brilliant. But still, I'm left wanting more from him, right? He's a good player. Is he a great player? We don't know that answer yet. He has the potential. We clearly see it, and that's why he obviously spent time at City. He's at Barcelona. I want to see more from this kid. And to be the Spanish national team forward would be unique and special because they've got a chance of winning the World Cup. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy be the difference maker of them actually winning the World Cup and not. If he takes this form from Barca into that World Cup, he could be a real threat for Spain. He could be a real threat for everybody who he comes up against. But I think the biggest task on hand for him right now is to make sure that he's the number 1, right? The number 9. In this Barcelona team over Lewandowski, and that's a big ask.
We've talked about Barcelona going forward, and so we should after they scored 5 goals against Athletic Club, but they were also very solid at the back. And if you want to win titles, whether it be the Champions League, La Liga, whatever else, you need to be good at the back. You need to be very good at the back in Barcelona this season, not necessarily always great in La Liga. They've conceded 20 goals. Real Madrid, Villarreal, Atlético Madrid, Espanyol all have better defensive records domestically in the league, but they're getting better. And I will say this, we have critiqued them incredibly heavily
over the season because of that high line that Hansi Flick continuously plays. But recently he's been very good. Obviously got the clean sheet against Atlético Club. I think this guy
is doing a great job of marshalling that back line.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. His performance against Espanyol at the weekend was phenomenal, right? That performance was excellent. But he hasn't always been that goalkeeper since his arrival from Espanyol. It was a quality performance from him. He didn't have to be as good against Atlético Club in this game. But I do think defensively they've got to figure out what is their best line. What is their best four at the back, or three players if you're pushing full-backs forward? I mean, I'm intrigued. There's a battle for the goalkeeping position. He looks like he's winning that battle right now. And when you have clean sheets, he's certainly not losing his position. But that might be the difference right there. You talk about the offense, right? What they've got going forward, the goals that they're scoring, you've got a battle on the wings. Who can get into that team? Lamine Yamal sitting on the bench in this game. You've got an opportunity for Lewandowski battling with Ferran Torres to be the number 9 in this game. I think battle for competition to even get into the starting 11 is Hansi Flick's life of luxury right now. There are players knocking on his door, desperate to get into that starting 11. And every single one of them who are sitting on the bench are just as good as the ones who are starting.